We've got a reporter, Basitsana Pora, on the scene there. Basitsana, good evening to you and thanks so much for joining us. We know that Knysna has now been declared a disaster area. I can see the emergency services and police vehicles behind you. Give us a sense of what is the situation there at the moment.
Good evening, Cindy, and good evening to the viewers. What is happening at this moment is that law enforcement agencies are working tirelessly to make sure that the fire is contained and that there is nothing that happens at this point going forward, because a lot of damage has happened since Wednesday. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to find if there are any fires that threaten to spark and threaten to, increase the devastation that has happened thus far.
We've also heard that people are slowly making their way back to assess the damage to the properties, and there's a sense of community and trying to accommodate those that have been displaced and evacuated from their homes. Just the scene that you were there this afternoon, a very well-oiled machinery in terms of providing supplies and much-needed aid to communities. Tell us more about that.
Multiple facilities have been opened. Many businesses have given out their space in order to open centers where they will find relief and aid. And many of these businesses have volunteers coming as far as the Free State and Cape Town, as far as Port Elizabeth as well, coming to bring aid and relief. Earlier on, we went to White Location, a township here in Knysna, where we saw, foundations pledging R1 million worth of supplies in the next 3 days to help the community that has lost absolutely everything. From the councillor that we spoke to in the area, he said that as far as he knows, 80% of the people in his area have lost everything. Another person that we've spoken to who is a victim of the inferno has made mention of how he lost absolutely everything, including his identification book, which was so important to him. The only thing he has is the clothes on his back. We've went to other, centers where we've found distribution centers where loads and loads and loads of relief aid are coming in and are being sorted. Clothes, food, perishables, non-perishables, toiletries. I mean, everything that anybody can bring right now is so needed in Knysna and appreciated by the community itself and by the people that are receiving these essentials.
It's still early days, Basitsana, to assess the damage, but of course there's also a sentimental value to property and memories that will be lost in this disaster. Having spoken to community members there, what is their sense in going forward? A lot of this will obviously be etched in their memory.
And not only just personal memories, but a lot of people were saying, there was one particular person that I spoke to who was so emotional, Cindy, during a live crossing earlier on with our colleague Audrey Chemwanda. He was so emotional, saying, I saw our town being eaten by a fire and I couldn't believe it. As we know, Knysna is a destination for tourists. It's a beautiful place. Still is, regardless of the fact that, this fire has taken this town out. It's a garden route, so a lot of tourists come here. The town seems like people, were a town of people that loved their town, and it's really... No one is not affected by this fire. You are affected by this fire. If you are in Knysna, you are affected by the fire financially, emotionally. If you are in surrounding areas in Knysna, you are still affected. Your health is still affected. I was letting my colleague know earlier on that coming into Knysna from the town of George, there was so much thick smoke that it was also difficult to drive here. That's how much damage there is due to this fire. And, we spoke to the hotel owner who lost everything. Fortunately for him, he's insured, but he lost everything, saying that even if the insurance pays out, he still lost memories, he lost inheritance, he lost, things that he treasured. So you can imagine what the other person who is sitting in the township and didn't have insurance has lost. They've basically lost their lives due to this fire. And the biggest thing is, what really caused this fire, Cindy? Another thing that has been battling this community is the crime that came with the fire. We went to a resource center where people are getting relief. It was so disappointing and disheartening to hear that there's criminalities as well, as criminals have started to even hijack trucks that are bringing relief and essentials. They're hijacking those and rerouting them to somewhere else instead of letting those essentials come to the communities that need them so badly at this point in moment.
Basitana, thank you so much for that update. We are joined now on the line by the Executive Mayor of Knysna, Eleanor Bowes-Spies. Good evening to you, Madam Mayor, and thanks so much for your time. Just this devastation that took place in a couple of days that have left the destruction in its wake, how the people, what message or what kind of support are you giving the people of Knysna and the affected areas?
Thank you very much. Good evening. What we're currently doing is that we're basically giving humanitarian support. Our first priority is that we need to make sure that people are safe and that we are preventing any loss of life. We are making sure that people are kept comfortable by hosting them in accommodation, and we're making sure they are fed and kept warm. And also, as a municipality, we've obviously had amazing support from community members, business people within Knysna and outside the boundaries of Knysna.
And this is very unprecedented, and one could not have anticipated the level of damage and destruction that the fires and also the floods has caused. So it's a multiple discipline that you seem to be talking about in terms of aiding those that are most affected. But maybe you can give us a sense, what are the considerations first taken before an area is declared a disaster area?
Well, the disaster management act is quite clear in terms of the reasons for declaring any municipality or area as a local state of disaster. So in terms of that act, section 55(1), any municipality can declare a local state of disaster when they feel that special circumstances warrant it. And I think without a doubt we can all agree that what has hit Knysna in terms of these very disastrous fires, that it indeed special circumstances. So we have done that today at 3 o'clock in a special council meeting. That obviously allows us as a municipality to then get support and funding from other spheres of government like the province and national.
You know, at the moment, it's still quite early to assess the extent of the damage in monetary terms. We know there's also been a loss of life, both from the emergency services and residents as well. And our condolences and prayers goes out to the people of Knysna. And from your part, in trying to restore the municipality, that in itself will be quite a mammoth task.
We are currently busy with the assessment, and you are quite right. Because, you know, within any disaster, the first 48 hours is obviously quite hectic and crazy. And so today, for instance, we could go out into the area, we could go look at it, and we've got specialists that is now looking at assessing the cost. I just need to also correct you that the life that was lost in terms of the emergency worker or firefighter was from the side of Plettenberg Bay and not in Knysna. There was a firefighter from the big Plet municipality that was fighting fires that side, because fires also then jumped over to that side.
Mm. And the condition at the moment, we know that about 80% of the fires have been contained, but there's also other elements in terms of wind that are fueling other sporadic fires. Yeah.
Currently we are containing all the fires. We have sporadic flare-ups in the area, and immediately once we obviously notice the flare-ups, we send in teams. And we're very fortunate that we have got a huge capacity of firefighters around, both from our own teams from outside of Knysna, but also from working on fire. We've got close to almost 400, about 340 working on fire.
Yeah,
that's where we are.
Madam Mayor, can you confirm also reports from our reporter on the ground saying that there was criminality, further over and above from the destruction, people were also somehow violated because the environment is conducive for that kind of activity?
Ma'am, I cannot confirm that. That would be not my jurisdiction. That would be SATS that could confirm that. We've had a media briefing this afternoon, which we have 2 of those per day. And that question was also asked, but SATS, they are the right authority, the correct authority to respond to that. I've also heard these rumors, but I cannot confirm that.
All right, Madam Mayor, we're going to have to leave it there. Thanks indeed, and Godspeed to you and the people of Knysna and the Western Cape in general as they start their cleanup operations and assessing the damage and trying to restore their lives to some level of normalcy.